Welcome in, everyone, to today's deep dive. I'm your host, and I'm really excited to welcome you to the show today.
Hey there. I'm thrilled to be here diving into the data with all of you.
Yeah, and we've got a really great mission for today's discussion. We are unpacking this brief, but honestly incredibly profound observation about a very specific demographic.
Right. People over 55.
Exactly. People over 55 and their surprising relationship with, of all things, starting an online business.
It's definitely not what you'd expect.
No, not at all. Because, usually when we talk about older generations interacting with the digital world, society just has this expectation of like total bewilderment.
Oh, for sure. The classic sitcom trope.
Right. We picture someone staring at a laptop, squinting, trying to figure out how to unmute themselves on a call or, just open a PDF. And there's a younger person behind them sighing and pointing at the screen.
Pointing and saying, it's right there.
Exactly. But today, the source material we're looking at completely flips this script. It shatters that stereotype.
It really does.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating here is that this isn't just a discussion about business mechanics.
Right.
It's this deep, really fascinating look at the psychology of decision-making, the reality of aging, and this hidden barrier that exists between gathering information and actually taking action.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the text kicks off with a claim that just grabs you right away. People over 55 are absolutely no longer confused by online business.
Yeah, the confusion era is over.
Right. So to understand why people in this demographic aren't starting online businesses, we first have to totally discard our assumptions about why they're hesitating.
Because it is definitely not an information deficit.
No. The evidence highlights these specific actions. Like they have done the homework, they've read the articles, they've watched the hour-long tutorials, and they are fully aware of the options available to them.
They've literally mapped out the business models.
Right. So let me just push back on society's view here, or ask you this. If someone has spent all this time reading and watching, and they definitively know what the options are, why is the default societal assumption still that they just don't get it?
Well, what's fascinating here is that we, as a society, constantly confuse a lack of action with a lack of comprehension.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We see someone not doing something, and we assume they don't know how, but the source explicitly states they do know what to do.
Right. They understand the mechanics perfectly.
Exactly. The barrier lies somewhere else entirely.
Isn't the roadblock? We logically have to look at what happens in that space, right between knowing what to do and actually doing it.
It's a paralysis zone.
Yes, the action paralysis. And the source pivots on this really core concept. They still don't move forward because they don't trust the decision enough to act.
Trust. That is the magic word here.
It's like someone who has studied the blueprints to build a house, right? They've watched every single DIY construction video on YouTube. They went to the store. They bought the lumber.
Ready to go.
Exactly. The lumber is sitting right there in the yard. But they still refuse to pick up the hammer.
Yeah.
They don't lack the knowledge of how a hammer works. They lack the conviction that striking the nail is the right move for them right now.
That is a great analogy. Because unpacking this profound difference between, acquiring data and making a leap of faith is crucial.
It's a huge gap.
It really is. And having the information actually creates a brand new burden.
Wait, really? A burden?
Yeah. Think about it. When you don't know how to do something, ignorance is an excuse. But when you have the blueprints and the lumber, the burden shifts to making a trustworthy decision based on that information.
Oh, I see.
The information itself becomes this heavy weight. You can't unknow it.
So the mechanics of later life decisions are just inherently heavy. Why is this need for trust so uniquely paralyzing for the specific age group, though?
Well, the conversation naturally flows to the life stages outlined in the text.
Right. The source makes this crucial point that after a certain point in life, decisions feel heavier.
Because they are heavier.
Yeah, it's no longer just about the thrill of trying something new, is it?
Not at all. And the source actually deconstructs this into three specific stakes or three pillars of fear.
Let's break those down. The first one is the fear of wasting time.
Right. And how the perception of time changes as we age. In your 20s, time feels infinite.
Oh, totally. You feel like you have forever.
Exactly. But past 55, time becomes a highly finite, precious resource. You can't just spend 3 years failing at a dropshipping store.
Right, because that's 3 years you don't get back, which ties right into the second pillar, not losing money.
The financial reality is stark.
Yeah, we are talking about fixed incomes here, or retirement savings that took decades to build.
Right. A 25-year-old loses $5,000, they eat ramen for a year and recover.
Yeah.
A 60-year-old loses a chunk of their retirement, that's their actual survival on the line.
It's terrifying. And then there's the third pillar, which is really the one that hit me hardest, the fear of not going backwards.
This is the big one. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it changes everything.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting to me. I was thinking about this, and when you're 20, a failed business is just gaining experience.
Right. Put it on the resume.
Exactly. Starting over is totally expected. But when you're 55, starting over feels like sliding down a massive chute in a game of chutes and ladders right when you were nearing the finish line.
Oh, that is exactly it. The risk assessment fundamentally changes.
Because you've climbed so high already.
Right. The fear of undoing decades of stability completely overrides the excitement of a new venture. They spent their whole lives climbing, and going backwards is just not an option.
So because these stakes, the time, the money, maintaining their current life position are so incredibly high, the very questions this demographic asks themselves have to change.
The paradigm shifts completely from mechanics to safety.
Right. And the source reveals this final shift. Yeah. Instead of rushing in, the internal monologue becomes this one question. Do I understand this well enough to trust it?
That is the ultimate filter for them.
Wait, so what does this all mean? Because, the source says, do I understand this well enough? But we literally already established that they do understand the business mechanics.
Yeah,
So what exactly are they trying to understand now?
It's a great question. The understanding has shifted away from the how-to of the business.
Okay.
Now, they are trying to understand the safety and the risk. They are trying to understand if their trust is correctly placed.
Oh, so it's not about how to build the website.
No, not at all. Think of it like this. You don't need to understand how an engine works to drive a car.
Right.
But if you're putting your entire family in that car to drive across a frozen mountain pass...
You need to know the brakes work.
Exactly. You need to understand the safety record.
Right.
You are evaluating the risk, not the mechanics. They know how the online business works, but they are evaluating if the digital environment is safe enough for their life savings.
Wow. And the digital landscape is notoriously unstable.
It's like driving on ice.
Yeah, it really is. So to pull this entire deep dive together for you, our listener, if you are over 55 and you're hesitating right now, or, if you are trying to help someone in that demographic, you really need to recognize that this hesitation is not a failure to comprehend modern technology.
Please stop sending them more tutorials.
Right. It is a highly logical, deeply rational calculation of life's stakes.
They are acting completely rationally based on their risk profile.
Absolutely. And I want to leave you with a final, lingering thought here today. Something inspired by the source, but maybe pushing just a bit beyond it.
I love these. Let's hear it.
Well, the source tells us the ultimate question is whether we understand something well enough to trust it.
Right.
But it leaves you wondering, in the ever-changing, kind of chaotic world of online business, is absolute trust ever truly achievable?
Oh, wow. That's a tough one.
Right. Or at a certain point, does the endless quest for perfect trust just become a protective shield, keeping us from ever having to risk going backwards?
That is a phenomenal question to ponder, because perfect safety might just be an illusion.
It just might be. Well, we'll let you all chew on that one. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, everyone. Take care.